This morning my fish were dying. A few days ago I noticed that my fish's fins looked very rough, and so I treated their aquarium with a tea tree oil medication to help them heal faster. Everything seemed to be going fine, they seemed to be looking better, and this morning I woke up and took a closer look at the tank and realized that they actually were dying. So this morning I woke up, I texted my boyfriend good morning because I missed him on his way out from work. I made a joke about how my fish looked very stiff and how one of them was getting ragdolled in the water coming out of the filter. I realized how odd that actually was, and so I got up to go and check on him. I noticed white discoloration all over his body, and it looked as if his skin was actually falling off. What looked like his skin was his slime coat, which is a protective layer on a fish's skin. And I also noticed that my other goldfish, Patchy, also had the same thing. They looked so lifeless and stiff that I actually thought they were dead until I poked them, and both of them frantically swam away, which was a huge relief. I knew they were dying, and I knew that something was very wrong, but I had no idea what to do. So I frantically I grabbed my gallon jugs and I started filling up water to bring to the sink, hoping that if there was something wrong in the water chemistry, that a water change would be able to help stabilize the problem. I started to get very overwhelmed, and the situation seemed very bleak at this point, so I actually started crying because I care a lot about my fish and I don't want them to ever suffer, especially if it's a problem that's my fault. And they were still barely alive after a water change, and I had no idea why. I was moving jugs from the 30-gallon to the sink, and then when the aquarium was halfway empty, I started bringing water from the sink back to the fish tanks, this clean, new, dechlorinated water, hoping that it would help, but nothing really seemed to be working. I had to reassess the situation once a water change was completed, and I still needed to find out what was happening so that I could put an end to the problem. I decided to do a head count on all of my fish because I have a couple bottom feeders in that tank, and I realized that one of them was missing. And so I start looking in the aquatic plants, I'm looking everywhere in the tank. I have one log in the tank, and I decided to move it to see one of them swam out, but I still was missing one fish, and I did not know where he was. So I grabbed the log, I'm looking everywhere in the tank, and I flip it upside down, and I realized that he actually had swam up into the log and passed away. And so I realized that when fish die, their body starts decomposing immediately, and they start releasing all these wastes and these toxic chemicals, elements. But the number one thing they produce when they die is ammonia, and ammonia is the number one killer in aquarium fish because it is so harmful to them. So the sudden spike in ammonia over the last couple days had caused my goldfish to get sick at this point, and I realized that they actually had ammonia poisoning. So once I realized that this was the culprit and this was the source of my problem, I did an even bigger water change, doing more than half of the water. I changed probably about 80% of the water. And then I also treated it with an ammonia neutralizer, which changes the ammonia into the less harmful form, ammonium, and it makes it a lot safer for fish. And at this point right now, it's actually been a couple of hours and their skin is healing. They seem more active, and I think only time will tell, but they seem to be doing a lot better, and I think that they are going to be okay.